fascinated by the concept of memories. For example, in Harry Potter, if anyone of you has seen Harry Potter, there is this scene where Professor Dumbledore takes out the memory and in order for Harry to see it, and I always found it fascinating. I was like, I wish I could also do that, just take out my memory and store it somewhere. But this is the reason, because memories are mainly driven by emotions to a huge extent. According to research, if you have obviously we've had good experiences and bad experiences, but there are 60% chances of us remembering the good times and 40% of the chances of remembering the bad times. That is why we always love coming to places which gives us happy memories, and because there's always an emotion which is associated with the place. And as I said, I always found that very intriguing. So I was talking to a friend the other day, and he is a classmate of mine. We were friends in school till class 10. And after that, we're still friends, but yeah, we have just moved in different cities and all of that. So I met him and we were talking. And this is one of those people who will constantly live in nostalgia. He's like, "Arey, school mein wo hota tha na, bada maza aata tha." Translating to, when we were in school, this used to happen constantly. Whenever I am going out with him, it's like I'm transported back to those days. We don't even live in the present; we live in the past. So yes, more on that. But before that, I would like to explain how the meeting goes on specifically for the newcomers. So a Toastmasters meeting is generally divided into 3 categories. Prepared speech section, where we have speakers who will be delivering speeches which are generally from 5 to 7 minutes according to depending upon the objective of their speech. They have prepared on it well in advance. And then there is an evaluator who explains the objectives, the speaker's levels, and the pathway which they are on. A little more about that later. The second part of the speech is a very, very interesting section, specifically for the newcomers, because I see a lot of them. This is the space where you can go wild with your imagination. As I said, it is the table topic section. It is a little scary also. The table topic master will call you on the stage, and you will be given a topic on the spot, and you have to speak on it impromptu. Remember those times when we were so scared to go on stage because elocutions and debates and all of that? Yeah, this is extempore, right? And the third part of the speech is the most important section, which is the evaluation section. And in this part, the evaluators, along with the general evaluator, help you to understand your strengths, your weaknesses, and how you can become better in your further speeches. So yes, on that note, I would like to introduce you guys today to the general evaluator. Well, he is the one person
who's going to help me in completing this task. The first role player is in the form of timer. Let's see what his role is as the role of timer. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for the timer, Toastmaster Moki.
Good afternoon once again to one and all distinguished guests as well as the Toastmasters present. Initially I did plan to come up and start my speech with a quote, but after being handed that book I saw a quote, so I thought I might as well share, because coming from a commerce and a management background, that quote really resonated with me. So the quote is by Peter Drucker, who is called as the modern father of management or something like that. He says, until we manage time, we can manage nothing else. I am partially, not doing justice when I say that quote, because I myself was 2 minutes late to the meeting, but nevertheless, let's continue. There are 3 types.
I skipped a man, and here the friend, Mrs. Gupta. What is this, Kritika? Sweet innocent me, not knowing, replying, my assignment, ma'am. This is what you call an assignment. Were you supposed to do this? You were specifically supposed to do it on a chart paper. And And here is what you brought. Here I was standing, and I saw my one full day's homework rejected and thrown before my eyes. So this was 6th standard me's definition of a quote. Her SPW homework thrown before her eyes. Moving forward, and this was 7th standard. And 7th standard me used to be scared of quotes. I literally used to be scared. For every time I received my English answer script, it would go like this. Here's my teacher calling out, rule number 26, rule number 26. And here I would be standing, meekly saying, here ma'am. And here my teacher. Yes, Miss Kritika, you again. How many times do I have to remind you that English essays are incomplete without quotes? And you cannot, mind you cannot just quote any random words and say that it has been said by Mahatma Gandhi. And here I would be standing on the surface saying, yes ma'am. And on the inside thinking, how on earth am I supposed to learn all of the quotes related to every topic on earth because I didn't even know the topic of these essays. So, quotes for 7th standard me would be words that my teacher wanted me to learn, but I simply didn't know how to. Moving.
Amor fati is a Latin phrase. Amor stands for love, fati stands for faith. So love of faith. So when I am to speak about my mentors, I would suggest one thing. Your greatest mentor is between these two arms. That is you. So one would suggest that it is so different that how you are calling yourself mentor. Look for yourself. If you are in a difficult situation, who is always there with you? If you are in an anxious situation, who is always there with you? You may find a good person, a helping hand, a guide so to speak. We all are assigned a mentor so to speak. But he cannot decide for you everything. As Friedrich Nietzsche said, and it is from his third book, The Gay Science. The Gay Science talks about how to be happy in this world. And he talks that you have to be a yes sayer. Say always yes to things that you want to. And to do that, you will have to accept your fate. That is, love your fate. You will not get that one book, as someone said, that one quote or that one message that you would want to deliver. If you are going too for it, then you will miss the bus. So you will have to take the decision, you will have to accept your fate. So this started way back when I was in class 8. As most of you have experienced, you would be picking something. Some would want to go for cricket coaching, some would want to go for guitar lessons. I went for drum lessons. And how did I come to play drums? So there's a very prominent music shop near my house. I used to go there, and the owner of the shop, Mushtaq Bhai, I used to nag him that I want to play some instruments. So he gave me a pair of sticks and asked me to make so much sound that the customers can be drawn in. And I kept doing that. I went there every single day and started making random noises. One day an old wise man came and asked me, do you want drum lessons? Your drum skills sound unsystematic. And I was open to that. I went to take drum lessons, but it was a different kind of experience. We would go at 9 o'clock in the morning and come out 5 o'clock in the evening. That is, I'll spend almost a work day in his house. And the discussion would start not from taking rudiments, but about the history of drum lessons. So, does any one of you have an idea how did drums come to being? So essentially, if you observe an European orchestra, each part is played by a different musician.
What is the table topics segment? So basically, a table topic segment teaches you how to speak and think on your feet. Before I used to think on using my head, but nowadays what happened that when I joined Toastmasters, I started thinking on my feet. So before I started, I have one story. So when I joined Toastmasters, I was very scared. I was scared in the sense that when anybody calls me on the stage, what will be the reaction? Because I am a very introvert kind of a person. So when I joined Toastmaster, so someone called Akash Bhajanka, is my name. So he called me on the stage and it was in my cube. This is the first time I am here. So in my cube he called and asked me, describe yourself in terms of food, because you know, my physique has been built like that. I went onto the stage and I spoke on that topic. I related myself with gulab jamun.
Why not aloo dum?
Huh?
Why not aloo dum?
Aloo.
Why not aloo dum?
I'm a very lazy person. I don't like it. That's right. Ready-made. So let's move forward with the meeting. In a table topic section, I will call someone, or you guys can raise your hand if you want to participate. It's very the topics are very fun.
To be a saint is good, but sometimes in order to excel in life, you need to indulge yourself in a bit of white lies. And this thing related to me in the first phase of the COVID lockdowns. See, I'm a very healthy person and I love eating potato chips. But then, when the first phase of the lockdown struck, I was forced to go to work every day while the streets were dark and none of the shops were open. And no matter how much I try, I will never forget those memories where me and all of my colleagues were traveling with a rented car, where the streets were dark, with nobody else even walking in the streets. And you could just view one of the few police guards just in the important road junctures. And it was at that point of time, after 2 or 3 months, when I suddenly visited a shop which was open just by an accident, and I had to lie in order to get a bag of chips. And it was then when honesty was not the best policy for me. And it was just the beginning. And once I got my hands up on that bag of chips, there was no going back. It was an addiction before, and somehow before the lockdown started, I had managed to get a grip on that. But after lockdown happened, and after I regained my hands on one bag of chips, I went on in a recluse, and since then until now, I have gained a lot of weight, and I am guessing that I must go back to that controlling phase all over again. So, at one point of time or the other, just in order to unshackle yourself, a bit of white lies is required. But then again, it's important to maintain a balance as you indulge yourself in that white lie, and then you are going to ensure that honesty is not the best policy, provided you have a sense of balance behind it. Thank you for watching.
I can totally relate to him that some of the times honesty, we should keep that honesty aside and do the.
So speaking of this, I think going with walnuts, it does not add anything to your memories, or it does not add any special power to your brains so that you can remember things. It is just that you have to put in that extra effort, or it is just that memories which we are speaking about, which actually affect you in a personal manner, which you remember for the long time.
First time coming here, I'm so nervous. My hands are shivering, and I forgot to mention another thing.
Clarity was good. A little bit of work also can be done on your transition, I feel. Because, so for example, it is just a grammatical thing, but so for example, when you were transitioning from your drum mentor to your Toastmaster mentor, you were saying so likewise. So I was thinking when you say so likewise, I thought you are going to say something from that story. But so maybe a bit more work on transition can be done. Otherwise, a great story. I loved it. I really want to listen and want to know more things about different things and want to learn more things. Can we have a huge round of applause for Toastmasters? Quickly, I would like to call my role players. First role player is in the form of Timer.